I kind of want to become a member of Prosperity Church and never give them any money, see how long it takes them to notice or say something. They use pressure techniques to try to force it out of you. Like, they will pass a plate around, or and you're kind of pushed into giving because everybody around you is giving. And if you don't, everyone is going to notice. Or they will directly ask you for money. They'll come up to you and ask you for everything that you have in your wallet. And if you don't give it to them, it's obvious. Now, I wouldn't give them a dime, but they put you in these awkward situations intentionally because kind of coerces you into giving money. And then they give talks like this about how if you don't give them money, then you're not pleasing God like a young boy should, that kind of thing. And again, welcome all the Twitch. Wow, it's down to 138. I guess me saying welcome Twitchers kind of killed interest in the thing, but okay. Welcome anyways, Twitchers who stayed. All right, let's keep listening.
Just doing things that might take a little bit of help, but we don't want to challenge God. It might overwhelm him. It might tax him. I'm dreaming big. We've got probably $1 billion building program that we're into, at least $500 million. And every once in a while, my staff will be stressed when I'm talking about some of these things, but I can guarantee you God is not saying, hold it, Andrew. I was in a service one time and
Again, this is a subtle way of kind of pushing his audience into giving him everything that they have.
The guy was talking like this about you need to believe big, and Jamie put her hand on my leg and says, sit down. Sometimes I terrify people with the way I'm dreaming, but you know what? You can't outdream God. You need to go to believing for something big. Rise up and do something.
As if it's that easy. That's the problem, Andrew. The United States economy has very much become the type of thing where you can't just do whatever you want. You can't just want to be an engineer or an architect or like a whatever, and then just like that, suddenly you are an architect or an engineer or whatever. Doesn't work that way anymore. There was a time when the American dream was a lot more attainable in the United States than it is now. The American dream isn't real. It's a piece of propaganda that was spread around to entice immigrants to come here. Seriously, there's the period of time when immigration was respected or at least desired, at the very least, by Americans. Matter of fact, honestly, immigration is massive in the United States, even now. I think the United States brings in like 1 million people per year, 1 million immigrants a year, right? And that's good. That's a good thing that we bring in so many immigrants. Immigration is good. It builds our economy. It makes it explode even more. I don't know why Trumpist nutcases have a problem with immigration, why they want to build a wall or whatever other nonsense. Immigration is actually a good thing for an economy, usually. But the point is, the American dream is not real, never was. It was far more attainable in other countries. Currently, right now, it's way more attainable in other countries. It's called upward mobility. The ability to start from nothing and build upon it until you have a respectable occupation that makes a good amount of money. I know that he's saying here, do something with your life. You think that people wouldn't be doing something with their lives if they had that option? Most people are incapable of, quote unquote, doing something with their lives. They have no choice. What do you do when you get out of high school? What's your first step if you don't, go to college or something? Your next step is work at Lowe's, work at McDonald's. What else is the plan? Like, what else are you going to do? There's nothing else to do. You have no other choices. There's no upward mobility. We're in a service-based economy where you can't move up easily. So this entire talk he's been giving has been about jumping out of the boat. Jump out of the boat. Do something uncomfortable. Take risks. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, that doesn't actually achieve what people need it to achieve more often than not. Almost nobody will become successful by taking risks like that. The fact that I have a YouTube channel that allows me to, sit here and talk to people all day is astronomically uncommon. Holy shit, dude. Do you have any idea what the chances of my channel succeeding were? Almost zero. It was 0.00001% chance. It's like winning the fucking lottery that I was able to make a career out of doing a YouTube channel. That was not because of anything that I did. I was presented with opportunities, and I did the right things when I found myself in the position to do those right things. That's all there is to it. And that's pretty much all it is today for any occupation. If there's a job that paid a living wage available, it would be taken. People don't have the choice of going out and working a job that they want to work, that they enjoy doing, and that they make good money at. They don't have that choice. If they had it, they'd take it. This is something that Andrew Womack obviously does not understand.
Amen. Look over here in 2 Kings.
This is probably something that Andrew Womack's audience doesn't understand either. You know why? A lot of them are retired and probably pretty wealthy. They have no idea what it's like to suffer. I'd be willing to bet that they skew older. Probably boomer generation, right? Mostly, by and large. And they lived during a time when it was so much easier to get a job that paid a living wage. The post-war boom, the dot-com bubble, like all this stuff that happened in their generation when they were adults and of working age generated so much fucking money for them. And here we are now with the American dream, the upward mobility quotient or whatever, as low as it has ever been. And wealth inequality, so completely off the charts. To my knowledge, it's never been this bad in the United States, wealth inequality. I could be wrong there.
This is about 4 lepers that were sitting at the gate of Samaria, and the Samaritans were completely surrounded by the Syrian troops, and they were starving them out. And it said that an ass's head went for 80 pieces of silver, and 1/4 of a dove's dung went for, I think, 4 or 5 pieces of
dove's dung? They sold dove's dung back then? Okay.
Silver. Can you imagine paying silver pieces to get 1/4 of somebody's excrement?
He's making a joke like, wow, that economy really sucked, didn't it? That's pretty much the economy we live in now, practically. Like, the economy we are currently in is dog shit. It is so bad, and it has no signs of getting worse. You know why? Because Republicans are deregulating, doing everything they can to make a huge mess out of the economy and make the rich richer and the poor poorer. And the rich, if they have more of it, it means that the poor have less of it. It goes up and down, it changes, value of money changes. The Federal Reserve prints money from time to time and uses it in entitlement programs and things like that. But by and large, the amount of money is finite in the United States, and if the rich have more, the poor have less. This is something this dude doesn't seem to understand or care about.
Or some animal's excrement. They were starving to death, and this is where people were eating their own children and stuff. It was a terrible situation. And look at this in 2 Kings chapter 7. And it says in verse 3, and there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate, and they said one to another, why sit we here until we die? Man, what a great statement. Let me just say this to you. How long are you going to sit here? Till you die? I think it was Albert Einstein that said it's a definition of insanity to do the same thing and expect different results.
That's a commonly attributed quote to Albert Einstein. I don't even know if that's true. That could be completely made up.
There are some of you that are praying that God will change your life, but you aren't doing anything different. It's insane to pray that God just somehow or another changes everything without you changing. Did you know change doesn't come from the outside, it comes from the inside? And again, I could spend a lot of time on this, but when the Lord spoke to me January the 31st, 2002, and told me that I was limiting Him by my small thinking, did you know what? I didn't pray and say, all right, God, do something big.
Yeah, I don't understand what this is. Kind of nonsensical. God said that you were limiting Him. How could you possibly limit God? If He wants to do something, He's just going to do something, right? This is just ridiculous. Everything about it is ridiculous. Rosa P., thank you so much for the super chat. First time super chatter, too. My mom gave 10% of what we had to the Bible Baptist church I went to as a kid. Barely had $20 for food. She's out, so have some of the savings. Appreciate that. That's really good news. My parents gave a disproportionate amount of money to Jehovah's Witnesses. And my mom's currently giving a ton of money to the religion right now. You know, there are videos of Tony Morris, a governing body member, spending like thousands of dollars on alcohol. Famously, he went to a shop in New Jersey and bought like a ton of alcohol. And I have to wonder, like, did he use my mom's money to do that? I mean, realistically, he probably didn't. Like, it doesn't really work that way. Like, all the money goes into one pool and, you know, you access it all the same no matter what. But I have to wonder if he would have made that decision to buy that alcohol if my mom hadn't, you know, built up his coffers to the degree that they were built up. Like, he had so much money, he's willing to spend $1,000 on alcohol. Who the fuck has that kind of money? $1,000. My first car was $1,500. My second car was a gift, so that doesn't count. It was an old 93 Ford Aerostar van. But my third car was $800. $800 I paid for that fucking thing. And this dude is spending $1,000 on alcohol. There is no limit to the depravity that you find with these people. It's just sad.